Chronic back pain is one of the most common causes of pain, but that doesn't mean that you're stuck with it. Today I'm going over scientific studies on the most effective things you can do to get rid of chronic back and neck pain. And this doesn't include medications or anything like that. All of these solutions I'll be talking about today are free. Hey there, I'm Mish, and I'm a full-time research scientist with my PhD, and by day I conduct and publish studies of my own, whereas by night I share the results of other studies here to help you reach your weight loss, fitness, health, and nutrition goals. And in this video I will mostly be focusing on lower back pain because that's the most common type of back pain, and also that's where most of the research is, but I will also touch briefly on middle and upper back pain as well as neck pain at the end. And first, as a note to make sure that these strategies I'm going to talk about can apply to you, this video is about non-specific back pain, which means back pain that is not caused by specific things like arthritis or injuries or a slipped disc or anything like that. So before you try any of this stuff, if you have bad back pain, then you should first go to a doctor to make sure that it's not caused by some acute issue that you could solve through much better methods. So the methods I'm going to talk about in this video only work if you have back pain that is not caused by a specific identifiable thing. And from now on, when I refer to back pain, that is the type of back pain I am referring to. And thankfully, there are a lot of studies strongly establishing a really effective treatment for chronic back pain, and that is exercise. But not just any exercise. I'll be going over the specific types of exercise that work and the types that don't work. And it's a lot more nuanced than you might think. And a big focus of the research so far has been on isolated lumbar exercises, which specifically target your lower back. And they've been found to be really effective for helping with lower back pain. But the nitty-gritty of how you do them really seems to matter. So for example, one study looked at how doing an exercise in different ways affects muscle growth in the lower back, because a common finding is that people with chronic lower back pain have shrunken lower back muscles. And they looked at 3 specific exercises that you can do at home with no equipment. I will put some pictures of them up here and also go through the names of them so that you can look them up on Google if you are interested in doing them. And these exercises are called the 4-point kneeling leg extension for one of them, the prone trunk extension for another one, and the third one is the prone leg extension. And the study had 2 groups that did all of these exercises, and they only differed in terms of how exactly they did these exercises. So in one group, they had people do them normally, which, for example, for the leg extension, you just lift your leg and then put it back down. And you repeat that over and over, just like a standard exercise. But for the other group, they added a static phase between each motion, where, for example, people would lift their leg and then they would have to hold it there with their muscles contracted for 5 seconds during a static phase before they could lower it again. So for example, to demonstrate what this would look like, if I were doing a bicep curl, I would lift the weight up and I would hold it here for 5 seconds, and then I would put it down. And the key is during those 5 seconds, my muscles would all be contracted. So it would be quite difficult to hold your arm like that for this static phase in between the lifting and lowering. But of course, they were not doing bicep curls, they were doing lumbar specific or lower back specific exercises in this study. And they found that the group who did not have this static phase, but just did the exercises normally, did not have significant muscle growth in their lower back. But the group that did these exercises with the static phase in between each cycle of motion had significant muscle growth in their lower back. But now what about other more normal types of exercise that aren't lower back specific? Well, first, to get it out of the way, unfortunately, aerobic exercise or cardio does not help with lower back pain according to studies. However, resistance training, especially posterior chain resistance training, has been found to be really helpful for lower back pain. In fact, it's been found to be just as helpful as these lumbar specific exercises. And some examples of posterior chain exercises include squats, deadlifts, glute bridges, and hip thrusts. And there are many more you can do, both in the gym as part of a normal routine or as a home workout without equipment. Just Google posterior chain resistance exercises and you should find a lot of good resources out there on different things you can do. Now, if you have current back pain, I definitely don't recommend jumping into a new lifting routine and going straight to deadlifting because that could make things a lot worse. What I would recommend is, most of all, if you can, go to a physical therapist first or get a coach to help you with your form and help you slowly work up to using weights. And if you can't do that, then I suggest starting very, very light and easy as possible to make sure you don't injure your back further. So things like bodyweight squats and 5-pound deadlifts, just to be sure you have the form right and can do it without tweaking your back. And then very gradually work up to higher and higher weights. And now, if your back pain is more upper or middle back pain, unfortunately, there's not nearly as much research on this. And part of the reason for that is that middle or upper back pain is more commonly caused by things like trauma and injuries and arthritis and herniated discs, rather than muscular issues. However, another big cause of back pain, of all types of back pain, that you can do something about is posture. so working on your posture could help. And if your upper or middle back pain is in fact muscular, then exercise should help it as well. I know that lifting helps my shoulder pain a lot. However, because there aren't really good studies on this yet, I'll go with the standard doctor advice, which is to do core strengthening exercises and things like yoga. And as for neck pain, unfortunately, that is also under-researched, but one big study did find that doing neck strengthening exercises does help with neck pain. However, of course, make sure that your neck pain is not caused by something serious like arthritis or anything like that before you start exercising to try to fix it. And as a fun or not so fun anecdote, when I was a kid, I fell 6 feet and landed on my back. And I had really, really bad back pain for a very long time. Many years after that, I'd often have to stay home from school for a week because my back would be so thrown out I couldn't get out of bed. And I had those issues into adulthood too until I started lifting weights. And ever since I started lifting weights, it's just been getting better and better. And now it's completely gone. I no longer have lower back pain pretty much ever, which is crazy because I do a lot of crazy stuff like gardening and bending over for long periods of time and having terrible posture. So obviously the studies are way more important than any one person's experience, but I can attest that with my back injury in the long term, lifting weights did really help after the acute phase. Don't do it during the acute phase of a back injury. If you would like to get summaries of the key takeaways from all my videos, as well as the ability to do Q&As and vote on video topics and make video requests and things like that, then head on over to my Patreon, which is linked in the description below. And if you find my videos helpful or interesting, then please consider supporting me either through the Patreon or through the GoFundMe for donations. And I really appreciate all of you who support me, either of those places, and through your kind comments. If you like this video or found it helpful, please like and share it so that other people can get this information and learn about some strategies that may help their back pain. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell below to stay up to date on all this science. Also, sorry about my voice. It gets really croaky this time of year, and I know a lot of people complain about my vocal fry, which is when I go like this at the end of a sentence when I'm trying to go low. But I can't help it. I've tried a bunch of stuff. I'm sorry, my voice gets really dry when the heater runs. So if you have any suggestions for a winter heater-induced croakiness from dry/irritated throat from a horribly dusty old HVAC system, then please share your advice that does not involve spending thousands of dollars that we do not have on a new HVAC system. I just realized that putting this little segment so far at the end means that it's kind of accidentally a test of who's sticking around till the very end. So if you made it this far, thank you. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time.